Since 2020, Egirls have been everywhere. Ever since Belle Delphine, a lot of women have wanted to follow in her footsteps and be on the same level of infamy. Love them or hate them, every year it feels like there's a new e-girl blowing up on the internet, and usually not for good reason. Going by the online handle SickndPretty, Being Betrayed, or Pretty and Doll-like, real name Ray is a recently infamous e-girl on TikTok. From Asian fishing to the most degenerate actions, she's done a lot to make herself unfavorable in the eyes of most online users. But who is SickndPretty, and why does the internet seem to hate her? Does she deserve the hate? Well, that'll be for you to decide by the end of the video. In the meantime, allow me to introduce you to the e-girl degeneracy that is SickndPretty. But before I get into the video, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. This is only my second video, so if you have any criticisms or tips, feel free to let me know. Anything helps. And just thank you for being here. Now, onto the video. So who is SickndPretty? SickndPretty, or Ray as I'll be referring to her as, is an e-girl who garnered initial attention with her almost flawless makeup and anime-esque appearance. Piggybacking off the Belle Delphine aesthetic popularized in 2020, it's clear where she got her inspiration from. Besides her appearance and controversies, she isn't known for much else. Since starting, she would often get accused with editing her photos or videos, and would get accused of Asian fishing as well. If you don't know what Asian fishing is when typically white women style their appearance, their hair, makeup, clothing, etc., to appear as an East Asian woman. The Asian fisher look often involves creating the almond eye or monolid shape, typically with black hair worn in a hime cut, large black contacts, and kawaii culture outfits. Usually, Asian fishing is done for aesthetics or profit in money or views. And there's a big debate on what is and is not considered Asian fishing, since it is often mistaken with dolly makeup and kawaii aesthetics. The big issue with Asian fishing is that a lot of these women use it for profit and attention, typically in sex work, while infantilizing themselves, causing a greater harm to East Asian women who get infantilized and heavily sexualized daily, while being turned into a fetish. Meanwhile, these white women get to do their Asian cosplay and take it off when they're done being Asian women. Meanwhile, real Asian women have to deal with the fallout and don't get to choose when they're done being sexualized. However, with Ray, it gets a little complicated. In a lot of photos, although she has blonde hair and blue eyes naturally, it does seem to appear like she has some sort of almond eye shape. But regardless, she still fits the mold of Asian fishers, which caused a lot of backlash towards her. It was also around this time when I first started seeing posts about her. She never seemed too bothered by what people said though, since she still dresses the exact same way, and this was her first controversy, but by far not the worst. The second time I started to see more about her was her crash out with another user called VampdaddyEvil, or Vamp as I'm going to refer to him as because I'm not calling this motherfucker daddy. I'm the only daddy around here, the fuck. Anyways, around the end of last year, a voice recording of the two being on call was showed, and Ray was clearly in a distressed state, crying and screaming at Vamp.
You're just leading me on. You're just fucking leading. Yes, you.
I told you I have no interest in you romantically right now.
Right now, that's leading me on. If you don't want to be with me ever, then just fucking tell me that. Just fucking tell it to my face. It's not that fucking hard, is it? It isn't. It's not. You're a fucking coward. You can't just tell me what you truly fucking want.
From what I could gather, it seems like they were talking on call and he ended things with her, and it seems like he was leading her on. She said he was talking to other girls and that he said he never saw her romantically, and even now has made some posts saying that he sees her as his child and as a pet, which is kind of weird. She also claims to have BPD, which can cause genuine outbursts like this. I've experienced and felt it firsthand, and it's honestly not that far off. Vamp is a whole nother character I could make a video on. This dude is such a freak and a huge degen. He's an alleged and kind of admittedly predator who preys on young e-girl looking women, and also admits to manipulating them while they're vulnerable, and honestly tries to make them starve themselves, which unfortunately made Ray an easy victim in his eyes. She was vulnerable, and when I get into the rest of her story, you might understand why. Often, chronically online teens who feel rejected will divulge into the worst groups since they know they'll take them in. as well as these teens can cause themselves to be vulnerable enough for predators and abusers to take advantage. In Ray's case, it led her to being preyed on by this dude. The order of which I'm trying to put this video in, I'm trying to go from her first and like less bad of her controversies to the worst. So I'm sorry if it's not in direct order. I'm also just doing this from how I found out about her, which it's in order just of how I discovered things. But since we're going in order, for a brief section, I'm going to talk about the massive fat shaming she has received. Earlier this year, a photo of Ray began doing its rounds on TikTok. A photo was taken of her at school and became a meme amongst those who knew of her existence, making fun of her unedited appearance and body. If I didn't know the rest of what she has done, I would have felt more bad for her. But this video, however, caused a chain reaction where now every off-guard photo of her is being shared everywhere. Any photo of a double chin was spammed in TikTok comments about her, alongside the original photo. And ED Twitter had a field day with these photos. Everyone just felt justified in their harassment, especially since it's alleged that she would fat shame others and was a part of ED Twitter herself. I will say it's very annoying the amount of people coming at her for her looks instead of what she has done. Why is vanity all that people care about when it comes to degenerate people and people online? People either defend her for being pretty or shame her for being bigger or ugly, but I don't see them shaming her for her actions nearly as much. Proof is there of her being terrible, and yet I see more people making fun of her appearance more than anything, with people even making Roblox avatars of her as well. And like, I don't care, like I said, she's done a lot of bad things, but at the same time, y'all are just so dumb and made researching her so hard. I had to sift through so many videos making fun of her appearance and Roblox avatar videos, and it's not even that funny. Like, come up with better jokes besides just putting her face there and putting some weird ass audio on, or making a Roblox avatar of her that a million people have done. It's just not funny. And if you're trying to do this because you're like, oh, well, she's a bad person, then put the proof and put it up and say, hey, by the way, this is what else she has done. Like, why are we focusing on her appearance so much? And it goes in the same pendulum the other way, where people are defending her and saying, I know she's problematic, but like, she's so pretty. Oh my god. You guys are weird. You guys are weird. This is the same mentality that makes people like Ted Bundy and Richard Ramirez looked at as like, oh, I could fix him. You guys are freaks. However, I am going to switch topics because there's not much about that situation besides just, you know, people suck and they're going to fat shame her. But it's also not much to talk about because some of the claims about her fat shaming others, they don't have too much proof, or at least none that I've seen. So let's get into probably the worst of what she has done, which we also have a lot of proof on. This next section is honestly going to detail the reason I find it hard to sympathize with her. And to put it bluntly first, is just that she's basically a neo-Nazi and hard racist, caught doing the, I think it's pronounced Siege Heil salute, or the World War II bad guy salute, while on call with a lot of people, along with her numerous tweets of her saying the N-word, and just doing all of this to fit that edgy e-girl theme. Yet, she can't handle the backlash. On one live, she even admitted to doing these things and would do it again.
I don't need the N-word pass. I already say it anyways. What do I need the pass? I can't say it on live. I'll say it on Twitter later.
And honestly, like, anytime I see her do these things, I honestly just think of her like the Kanye of e-girls, with all the shit she says, her mental breakdowns, and the anti-Semitism. It just, you know, in my brain makes a stupid correlation. But to continue a point I was trying to make earlier, Chronically online rejected teens often get indoctrinated into these kinds of groups. Far-right white supremacist groups feed off these kinds of people. They're so easy for those who feel like they have no one else in their life, and when they either plan to end their life short or just not get a job offline, since their digital footprint in these groups will prevent them from doing so. A few examples of this are the Red Lake shooter Jeff Weiss, who turned to the internet after a miserable childhood filled with neglect and bullying. He became a native white supremacist and festered in forums around it online. Recently, Cool Girl Vril, a young woman similar to Ray, is a raging white supremacist and Zionist after being isolated in her real life. She turned to these groups to get validation and ended up making threats that caused her to get on house arrest. And finally, Solomon Henderson, the Antioch shooter, who was another isolated teen turned racist and supremacist, even though he himself was black. I would love to do a video on this pipeline as it has always captured my interest. The amount of self-hatred and the hatred of that turning towards other people and the pure apathy of it all is just really mind-boggling, and I find it interesting someone could find themselves in that situation. Although these individuals are the more extreme examples of this pipeline, it is the same pipeline that I believe Ray is in. It is easy to get the acceptance of these groups, since they're often just trying to spread their message regardless of who's spreading it, and due to that, she now has a community that will take her in while she furthers to get hatred from others. And honestly, due to all of it, I don't see her coming out of it anytime soon. To switch topics again, Ray took the average Egirl passage and became an online sex worker. Only 20 minutes after turning 18, mind you. She was quick with it, and it has been alleged that she was selling photos privately before she had even turned 18, and that some of the photos she uses on her Fansly now were actually taken when she was still a minor. She came out and said that it is not true and that she just produced a lot of different photos within the span of a night. But there is no real way to prove or disprove these claims without the original photo's date, so take any of these claims with a grain of salt. Along with her unflattering photos we talked about earlier being spread, so were some of her Fansly photos. Now, none being too explicit in nature from what I've seen, but I'm still not going to put them here regardless. But I just say this because anytime people make a video on her on TikTok, these photos will often be in the comments, once again just making fun of her looks. Her creating a Fansly was almost humorous to some, as it was alleged that she would in the past call another girl's names and make fun of them for doing sex work while they were arguing. Her making a Fansly now also feeds into what I was saying earlier about how white women who Asian fish for sex work feed into the fetishization of East Asian women and girls. She also allegedly came out saying Belle Delphine was her role model. Belle Delphine being very problematic herself and was scrutinized by many for her controversial sex work involving childlike themes and CNC. I can't entirely blame her for going into sex work, as she definitely has men lining up to see her, and due to her digital footprint is likely close to impossible for her to get a real job. However, it's just disturbing that she made one only 20 minutes after turning 18. Now, I have no problem with sex work for the most part. I have my own problems with the industry, but I would not shame a woman for pursuing it, as it can be easy and accessible to make money for many. However, it is weird to make one so quickly after turning 18. You haven't experienced the world as an adult. You've barely had time to think about your future, and certainly have not had a chance to pursue much. Sex work unfortunately closes a lot of doors for those in it, and many sex workers have come out in the past decade to express the negative side of it. Also, doing one so close after turning 18 feeds into the barely legal fetish that a lot of men, including Vamp, enjoy. Sex work should be carefully thought of because even the smallest sex workers still experience negatives. At the end of the day, Ray clearly has a lot of issues and self-hatred going on. Okay, editing Vivi here, so her account is not gone, deleted, banned, whatever. I thought it was because I didn't see it for like a day or two, like when I first started recording the video and like getting evidence and shit. But her account is up on TikTok, because I checked today when looking for videos for Vamp, so I just wanted to let you know that is my bad, but I'm about to say that, like, oh, she's banned or whatever, I don't see her account. It's up. My bad. Anyways, back to the video. I really hope she stays off the internet, as her account is now either banned or deleted. I am not sure which one. I don't think she should ever come back, for her own safety and health, but also so that we can have just one less degen online. In the end, she went from a seemingly barely problematic e-girl to a massively fat-shamed racist and driven offline. That's all I have for now. I would really like to thank Reilly Elaina here on YouTube. I got a lot of screenshots from her video because, as I said earlier, when trying to do research, I could barely find any of the proof in screenshots, but I knew they were there. I've seen other people post them before, but like I said, when I was trying to find them, I found way too many jokes and fat-shaming jokes and memes centered around Ray rather than the actual shit she has done. But anyways, if there's anything I have missed or any proof or anything alleged I had in this video, feel free to share it or correct me. I hope I was able to earn your like and subscribe, and if not, there's always next time. But anyways, thank you for sticking around, and stay unemployed, chat. Hi, so I just wanted to make a few comments before I end the video, and it really just has to do with my YouTube account and just like where I'm going to be headed with a couple things. So first of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, I am so sorry if the audio was high or low or peaked at certain points. I had been filming my voice for hours at that point because I just kept stopping and redoing everything I said, which led to me moving my mic a lot just because I get antsy and I fucking stop fucking touching the mic. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if it sounds like horseshit. That is my bad. Another thing I want to say is for my next videos, I'm going to try and read less off a script like I have been because I know I sound more robotic, and honestly when, listening back to my voice, I think I sound the most bearable when I was not reading off a script for a second. So I'm going to try and just like stick with that. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I know a lot of people keep making videos on her. I only saw one person do it, and then within the past week I just saw a bunch of other videos, so I don't know. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day.